Hello chess lovers, today we will watch the game between Gukesh D and Ding Liren of the World Chess Championship. It is the game number 5 and here white is Gukesh, black is Ding. Gukesh starts with the move e4 and Ding plays e6. And the French defense, again, I personally cannot say that being in a French mode is a bad thing, but it would not be a surprise if Richard Rapport is behind this choice. Ding second is definitely an expert on this opening. So d4, d5, and Gukesh decides to vary from round 1 and play a much more solid line that the exchange variation, this line has become fashion in top level tournaments this last few months. White will try to get a slight advantage from their extra tempo. So into d5, knight f3, knight f6, and knight c6 is another aggressive way to play in order to immediately stop the symmetrical position. So knight f6, bishop d3, and here Ding decides to unbalance the position and played the move c5 and not to play the symmetrical continuation with the move bishop to d6. Well, yeah, that last move can give an isolated pawn structure, which means Ding was ready to play a dynamic game. So here, c3 and c4, Ding immediately chooses to fix the structure, bishop c2 and bishop d6. So far, both players played very fast, meaning they were both in the non-fields. So queen e2 check and queen to e7. Well, bishop e6 could be attempting in order to keep the queens on the chessboard. Queen into e7 plus, and then after king into f7, Gukesh will enter a deep thought. So far, Ding played his moves very fast. So it seems that Gukesh was the first one out of the theory. In the press conference after the game, Gukesh said that he probably saw this before but couldn't remember the line during the game. So castle and rook e8. And after that move, rook e1 check, king f8, rook takes, king takes, and the bishop g5 attacking the knight, knight b d7 and knight b d2. Both sides are playing their pieces, developing their pieces, and after knight to d2, it is the first long thought for the Ding. Only one game was played in this position in 2018. If white managed to put a knight here on the e5, like followed by the move rook e1, so and rook e1 knight e5 ideas, they could claim an advantage, right? Obviously black will not sit and do nothing about that. So h6, bishop h4, maintaining the bishop on the h4, and beautiful move by Ding, knight h5, aiming the f4 square, and rook to e1 by Gukesh. Like a4 here is something to be considered as it stops any counterplay on the queen side, but Gukesh simply played it. Rook e1 check, king f8, and the move g4. So I must admit it, I was very surprised as many other players. I thought that game was going to end with another in speed draw, but I changed my mind after that move. It may not be the best move objectively, but Gukesh tries to provoke the Ding, and I think that's a good psychological choice. He is forcing him to calculate many different lines from now. And while knight e5 is not working here because of the move f6, right? And black can simply play so many moves possible here. So after that, knight f4 and bishop g3. White wants to take advantage of the pick. They also want to play knight e5 and knight b6. Many other continuations were possible, but this is probably the simplest one. g5, Gukesh sacrificed his king side structure, you can see here, to get an active and dynamic play, and that is looking risky and also a risky choice, as if he does not manage to compensate dynamically, he will remain with a small long-term positional disadvantage, right? So h into g5, knight into g5, and bishop to d7, and after that knight g f3, aiming to jump on the e5 square. Rook e8, Ding wants to exchange the rooks, but knight e5. And knight f1 is also logical move, with the idea of knight f1, knight to e3. Well, After rook e8, Gukesh played knight e5, bishop into e5, and I cannot imagine a very surprising mistake played in few seconds. Well, it is not a mistake, but it's an inaccuracy, we can say. So what surprised me even more is that Gukesh played his last four moves in less than 5 minutes, although nothing was forced. So Gukesh's strategy to put pressure on the Ding on position and time backfired him, and D into e5. Rook into e5 was very necessary. Well, after the knight d3, very fastly played by the Ding. After that move, Ding is getting a clear advantage. Gukesh went for a deep think after that move, probably realizing he underestimated the potential of the black's position. So bishop into d3 and c into d3, because after rook e1, knight into e5, right? So bishop into d3, c into d3. The d3 pawn will be a real spine in white's position, and f3, and so b3 to avoid, because after rook c8, rook c1, and the move d4. So after f3, Ding played knight to c4. Well, knight a4 was also possible there, but he played the good move. Knight into c4, d into c4, and rook e4, attacking the c4 pawn, as well as not the c4 pawn, but the idea is to play rook to d4. And here the move which surprised me is bishop to c6. Well, Ding should play here bishop e6 was the right way to play in order to free the c file. This file is free for the rook and to protect the important c4 pawn. Well, rook d4, after that rook c8 and king f2, and we can say that the black king will put pressure on the king side of the bishop, if bishop e3, king h7, the black king will put pressure on the king side, while the black room will handle the queen side. So from a human view, the position is really hard to defend for white. Well, so after bishop to c6, that was not so accurate. Bishop e6 was the accurate move. So after that, knight c4, takes, rook here, and bishop to c6, rook d4, and why not rook into c4, guys? Because after rook into c4, the simple move is rook d8, and followed by the move d2, right? So after rook d4, bishop into f3, king f2, attacking the bishop, and a disappointing move. Ding missed the right spot for the bishop in the previous move, but here he does not even try to put pressure on Gukesh in this no risk position, and bishop h5, to be honest, was the only way to keep putting pressure. So like a king e3, okay, and why if rook into c4, then the d2, simply followed by the promotion, right? So bishop to c6 was a bad move here, and again after that he should play bishop h5, but he played bishop c6, and rook takes, and the position is a clearly dead draw because the opposite color bishops are there, and after that there is no chance for both the players. Frustrating, and Ding played a great game, and when he could definitely get a clear advantage, almost winning, he decided to simplify the position to get a draw. So it's not so easy to get a big advantage in such a match. Well, let's hope that he will not regret his decision. I hope guys you enjoyed this video. Subscribe Star Chess Academy, like and share. Thanks for watching.